David Soul and Paul Michael Glaser. Personally, I could never understand Friday's episode of Starsky and Hutch, which can be seen on BBC One at 9:25. Stars David Soul and Paul Michael Glaser. Personally, I could never understand what those boys were doing in the police department anyhow, since they could both have earned a fortune as male models on Madison Ave. And Paul Michael Glaser, who plays Starsky, must agree with me because he's never made any secret of his desires for roles which were more demanding, wider-ranging, and more deeply fulfilling. Now, movie buffs may remember him as the revolutionary son-in-law in the musical Fiddler on the Roof with Topol, and he's also been seen on the small screen in a TV production based on the life of Houdini. But now Paul Michael Glaser has decided to branch out in a major way as a star of a new psychological thriller called Phobia, directed by John Huston. Well, you're certainly not the first man to move from the small screen to the big screen very successfully. I mean, Clint Eastwood did it, Steve McQueen did it, Roger Moore did it, but a lot of people fell by the wayside. I mean, do you feel any qualms about that?
Falling by the wayside? Sure. I don't know how seriously I feel qualms about falling by the wayside. You got to fall to get up again.
But you see, what I'm getting at is that most people, most actors would give their eye teeth for a part like Starsky. And I get the impression that almost from the beginning, you treated it almost flippantly.
Well, I had, first of all, don't be mistaken. I was very fortunate to have Starsky. Starsky represented a piece of timing where the right piece of material came along, which allowed me to do my thing and apply my trade, so to speak.
But when you say do your thing, sorry to come in on you there, Paul, but when I say do your thing, I mean, obviously a lot of that depended on this relationship between you and the other character, David Soul. I mean, how much freedom did you have with the character?
Oh, I had a lot of freedom. When I first read the script, I said to myself, oh, well, here's an opportunity to play a police officer the way I'd like to play him and the way I imagine nobody's ever seen him play. And then working with David allowed me perfect chemistry, the timing, the opportunity to bounce off somebody else.
So you did have this rapport off the set as well as on, did you? You got on well together?
Yeah, we're very close. We don't see each other that much now. You know, you spend that many hours, about 14 to 16 hours a day and 5 days a week, 9 months a year together. You welcome the opportunity to get away from each other. But we see each other now and then.
So why were you always trying to get off the series? I mean, you actually at one point, if I remember rightly, went to court to try and get off.
Well, you have to make the distinction between what one wants and what one gets. You don't always get what you want, you get what you need. I think at the time, at that point in my career, what I wanted most was celebrity and was fame. And so I went the avenue of television. And it suited my craft, it suited my abilities. I was able to work with the help of a partner, work my way and do quite well. But I think that I needed Starsky and Hutch to help me mature as a person, to help me experience realizing a commitment and fulfilling a commitment. And Starsky and Hutch provided that to a great extent.
Yeah,
so let me share this with you. In the beginning, like a child who doesn't want to do what he's been told to do, I kicked and screamed and carried on. And that's really basically what it came down to. I was unhappy. I mean, there are certain frustrations, very definite frustrations that exist for the artistic side of oneself when you're working in television series. Because of the speed at which you work, you don't get to work at great depth.
Well, what did Starsky and Hutch mean in a work time?
On work time?
Yeah.
Well, as I said, we worked from 14 to 16 hours a day. And you work very fast, and a good portion of the show is action. And so that meant jumping locations a lot. And in film also, you have to understand that for an actor in film, it's hurry up and wait, you see. And so you don't have...
What do you mean, you're hanging around a lot? Is that
you hang around a lot, you wait a lot, and then when you go 0 to 60, 0 to 70. Okay. I used to say to Davey, I imagine that we go about 0 to 70 miles an hour about 20 times a day. Well, I don't know if you've ever sprinted, but if you do that, do that enough times that it can get to you.
Well, why I tried to come in on you before was, you were saying that you were seeking celebrity, you were seeking fame. I get the impression that you are not at all like Starsky, that you are a much more uptight person inside than he was, And I know that you have consciously pulled out of the star lifestyle. I know that. And yet all your life has been geared to being an actor. I mean, you studied at a university. So what did the kind of fame that you got in that series do to you? How did you handle it?
That's a pretty big question. The celebrity from Starsky and Hutch really held up a mirror to me. Held up a mirror to my life and to my person, and made me think. It made me take a lot more responsibility for my actions as a person. You're right, I'm not comfortable being in the public eye as much as some other people might be. I don't really thrive on it. I enjoy performing, I enjoy acting, I enjoy playing that craft, but I'm not really a public person. I enjoy my time to myself. I enjoy being off by myself or with a few friends in the woods. I haven't been in a television studio in a long time. I'm even nervous sitting here talking to you with that good old red light.
And do you think that, would you think that moving from television to the big screen might give you a little more privacy?
Well, the thing that's attractive about shooting films as opposed to television is that it takes a longer period of time, therefore there's a longer gestation period in which to realize that particular artifact. So there's more time and more space to scale the heights, plumb the depths, to get in touch with all the many colors and experiences that happen to performers or that performers want to be able to experience when they're creating.
Yeah.
Television is so fast that the only thing that you have working for you is spontaneity and off the top of your head.
That's right, yes, I know, I understand that.
And working in a feature film situation, you have a bit more time. And so you can enjoy it more, you can savor it more, you can experiment more.
Well, let's take a look at the new film, Phobia, and which I don't want to give too much away because it's a thriller, but let me just say that you play a specialist who is helping people get over phobias, and here is a man who has an inherent fear of snakes.